Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at Solana. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Before we jump into the lower degree counts, we're going to talk about some of the higher time frame ideas here. So within our higher time frame idea, what we're looking for is a bigger A, B, and a C pattern to the upside. Now the common zone that we look for support for this is typically between this 50% and the 786, but we did find at least temporary support here between this 382 and this 50%. Now it is possible that this could just be completed and we could be looking to rally in a C wave, and we're going to go over that idea first, but we also need to be very careful here that this whole move doesn't become a bigger ABC pattern, and then we could actually be looking to actually revisit some of these lows over here where we could be looking for this 50% to the 786. So we're going to go over the bullish idea here first, where we could be within the C wave, and then we're going to go over the alternate idea here where we could actually be looking at this as a corrective move and then going for that downside action to play out at a later point. Now, within this idea of being in a bigger C wave, there's a couple of ways we can look at this. So the first way I want to talk about is the potential of a diagonal here. Now, if we are looking at this, we'd be looking at this as 1, 2, 3, 4. And what we want to see is the completion of this 5-wave move to the upside, failing to break this zone of this 43.72. Now, directly above us, this trend line is sitting towards this 36.20. And as well as that, we do have the potential of swing failing some of these highs over here towards this 38.74. So we'll be keeping an eye on this level if we do actually look to push up here one more time. Now the idea here would be that we're actually looking for a deeper retracement off the back of this, where what we would typically be looking for is a 3-wave move to the downside between this 50% and the 786. I have, however, also included the 0.382 area just because there was quite a bit of consolidation in this zone previously, so I would be watching out for the 0.382 in case we get a shallow retracement here before looking to push up. Now this move could just be corrective, in which case we get this as just A, B, and C, in which case, depending on how deep we come here, we could be looking for this idea of this $94 as a potential one-to-one. Alternatively, if we do get a bigger push to the upside here and we get a move past $244, this could then align with the idea here that this whole move is becoming 1, 2, 3. We'd then look for a 4th wave, and then we'd be looking for a 5th wave, looking to take out these highs. Now, the alternate way that we could look at this is actually saying that instead here what we have is 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1, 2 here. Now this is going to have a very important invalidation point here, which is this 1735. Breaking down past this level makes the probability of this continuation less likely. We could argue here that we have a flat where this is A, B, and C. The problem is then it would be quite large in comparison to this wave 2, and the probability would be then less that this is part of a impulsive structure as we have marked out here. It would make a lot more sense to me to see something like this, where we have this move be either 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, in which case we completed already, and we're going to start to see a bigger 3-wave move looking to push down back towards this 50% to the 786. We do also have some highs here towards this 25.59, which we'll be keeping an eye on in case it doesn't quite reach this 50% level. But the idea here would be that once this completes as a 5-wave move, we would not want to cross this 1735. We'd be looking for a retracement into the white target box, and then we'd be looking for this 3rd wave to the upside. If we do get a push to the upside from this point that crosses this 66.61, this would then align with the idea here that we get the white count play out to the upside, in which case that would then make this blue wave 3. Then we would be looking for an additional 4th and a 5th, which could then look to push us up to some of these higher target levels. Now I do have the 1.618 of the yellow count sitting at 88.71. If, however, we see extension, the 2.618 level would be at this 293. Alternatively, also within the blue count here, we have the 1.618 sitting here at the 77.38 level. If we do see extension, potentially we could see price looking to push higher towards this 194. Now within this count here, we also need to just be very careful, because I'm looking to try and count this as a smaller 5-wave move. But if this is extending in a 3rd wave here, we also can't rule out the idea that this is 1, 2, 1, 2. We get this move up here as a wave, another wave 1. We get a smaller 3-wave move, and then we look to continue up where this is actually within the 3rd wave of the 3rd wave. But the idea would remain sort of the same here. As long as we protect the lows, we could be looking for that direct continuation The only way we'd be looking at breaking this low currently is that if we get a completed move here, we get 3 waves down and potentially we look for that 0.786, but we wouldn't really want to lose this level. Otherwise, the probability becomes that we are looking at something else here. Now, within this idea, it's possible that this wave 1 is incomplete here, and this also aligns for the idea of that diagonal. We could still have a little bit more of a breakout here, where if I come in more locally here, what we could be looking at is a move more along these lines where we're still looking to extend internally, where this is 1, 2, we have this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we have come up into this target box area already at this 35.67. If we are completed the white wave 3, we'd be looking for a retracement towards 30.98 to this 27.38. If we do hold that level, this would then allow us to have an additional 5-wave structure to the upside, looking to target out this 38.55 to this 36.02. This would bring us into our target box here of this 40.28 to this 35.78 level. Now, if we want to argue that we're still within this yellow 4th wave, it is also possible that we could have a corrective structure here that is actually just becoming a bit larger, and we could still look to revisit this area of this 320 to this 27.53. So the key thing here is if we do have something like this where we're going to see a flat correction, where this is basically our A wave down, we have 3 waves up, and we're starting to look for a 5-wave move to the downside here. What I'd be looking for is a cross of this 29.80, and then I'd be looking for a 4th wave up and that continuation down. Now, some target levels for this, if it does become a flat, would be between this 29.88 and this 28.71. So we'll be keeping an eye on these levels. This would also align quite nicely with coming back down here into the 0.382 of this 28.69. So we'll be keeping an eye on that level if we do see something like this play out. If it is within the yellow 5th wave, what this would mean is that all of this would actually become a 4th wave, and then we'd be looking for the potential to still see this yellow 5th wave play out. The difference within these two basically would be saying that if the yellow wave is not completed, we're going to see another 5-wave move here. Then we're going to see a corrective move again, and then we're going to see another 5-wave move. So this would be saying that we still have another 2 5-wave structures to develop. Now, if we do start to see something like that, like I said, it is possible that this could actually just complete the 5th wave here, as long as we don't cross that key level here of this 43.72. However, it is also possible that this could actually be this wave 1 still looking to extend out. Now, we said that it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in which case we'd be expecting this to complete, then get 3 waves to the downside. Invalidation is 17.35, and then what we'd be looking for here locally would be that this becomes 1, 2, and then we're looking for this higher push for a 3rd wave. So 24.28 to this $20 level is going to be important if this is actually a completed move with an extension in the 5th. However, if we are looking at this move rather in this way, where this is 1, 2, 1, 2, what we'd then be saying is that internally we still have some additional legs. So even if we do get those additional 4ths and 5ths more locally here, this could still mean that we are still within this bigger 3rd wave. So we need to just be on the lookout for this. If we do continue to push up here, this 3rd wave could still be extending, though we have done enough here to actually, complete this. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. The 26.19 level here is going to be key if we've actually completed the 3rd wave already. We don't want to lose this level, and this high of this 24.79 is going to be invalidation of this idea here. Looking to be the white 4th wave. If we do look to actually see a 3-wave move down past this level, we need to just be very careful, like I said, that this isn't 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we look for that bigger impulse as long as this low is still protected. Now, if we do see this play out where this has this additional 4th and a 5th wave, and we look to push up towards these key targets of this 41.31 to this 37.36, once again, the same ideas are going to be in play. Is this a 5th wave for the diagonal, or is this actually forming the additional white wave over here, where we're going to see this move come back down a bit deeper and look to hold this level here of the 17.35. Now, if we have the diagonal, the potential then becomes that we could see these areas get swept, where this becomes our A wave, we get a B wave down, and we could potentially even lose that level of that 17.35, but still hold this 11.05, and this could align with this idea here. So we need to just be very careful here. There is potential that this could start to extend out to the upside, but at the moment we are sitting in quite a key level. We need to see whether we continue to hold that bullish structure here to look for this bullish potential to the upside. Now, we need to be very careful here on the higher time frame, because if we do look at the potential rejection area that we have here, as long as we fail to push up past the 786 here, we do have the possibility that this could all just be a corrective move and we continue down. So we're going to go over that bearish structure here and what this could mean. Now, if we do see price actually looking to push up higher here, I'm going to be keeping an eye on a few zones here. So I do have a target box here between this 40.28 to this 35.78, as well as the potential of swing fading this high of this 38.78. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on this zone. If we do look to push up here, the trend line is also sitting towards this area, like I said, of this 36.47. So need to keep an eye on that level. As well as that, if we do look to push up higher here, the 50% is aligning quite well with this idea of swing fading this high here at this 48.38. And then we do have that potential of seeing a move up here towards this zone of the 75.34, and this would align with a 0.618 to a 0.65, so a golden pocket retracement here before looking for that potential to push to the downside. If we just see this fail to achieve good impulsive structure up, this could be an indication that we are actually looking at this as a corrective move, and then we could be looking for continuation down. So there's a couple of ways that we could look at the internals of this structure. So we could argue that this is ABC here for A, this is B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's our C wave, and we have a completed move. Now this would be the way we're counting this if we're looking for that move to the upside. But once again, until we actually break back above this rejection area here, we need to be very careful that this isn't just a corrective move, and then we look for continuation down, where we could see price looking to push us down towards this 1-to-1 level here to this 0.618 level. Now this is based off of our current high. The higher we go here, the higher this target actually becomes as well. So I will be keeping an eye on this level if we do look to start to break down. But it would make a lot of sense here that if this is a B wave, it's still not completed, and we're going to go over that in a second. Now, within the other alternative way we can count this, we could argue this is 1, 2, 3, 4, extension in the fifth. That's our fifth wave here, which makes this an A wave, which would mean that we still need to have another 5-wave move to the downside. Now, the rejection area, once again, is going to remain the same. If we fail to push back above this, then this could align with just actually seeing a B wave here before this continuation to the downside. So we need to see whether this bullish structure continues to hold these key levels and we continue to develop good structure here to the upside. If we continue to maintain these lows here, we can look at that idea that we get this as 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. If we fail to do that, then it's going to become important to hold this low. If we do get this as AB or 1, 2, we could be then looking for a C wave or wave 3 to the upside. Now, if we are looking at this idea of the B wave here, there's a couple of ways that I'm looking at the internals of this. So we're going to go into that now. Now, I was originally talking about this being a bigger flat correction here where this is ABC, but I don't really like this anymore, because if this is our A wave, this is a B wave to the downside, and we're going to get a C wave up. It is quite large in comparison to the small little move to the upside here. So the probability becomes more likely here that actually what we have is something more along these lines here, where this move is actually an A wave into this high. This is potentially either a B wave completed and we're looking for a C wave up, or alternatively, we are looking at the blue count here, where what we are saying is that this is A, this is B, and we're looking for the C wave down. Now, this would be looking at the idea of a flat correction here. And instead of counting this as 1, 2, 1, 2, we could just say that this is A, this is B, and then we're looking for a C wave to complete. Now, we've come up into this zone here, past the 1 to 1. So between the 1, 2, 3, 6 and the 1, 3, 8, 2, if this does look to push up higher here, I'm going to be keeping an eye on this 1.618 level here, this 37.39, which is in line with the idea of pushing up towards the 1.236 here at this 37.40. Other targets that are common for a B wave would be this 40.95. So if we do see price look to just push up in 3 waves and we fail to hold this low, this would then align with the idea of a C wave. So if we do see this push up into this higher blue box area here, if this is going to develop as a flat, what we would expect is a 5-wave move to the downside after that point, looking to push us back down into this zone here of the 1236 to this 1.618, which would be 1577 to this 1240. 43. This would then align with actually seeing a retracement here between this 50% and the 786. If we do look here, we have the 0.618 sitting at this 1359, as well as that. If we do push down past this 1282, this could be quite an interesting zone as a swing failure, and then that could align with actually coming down towards this 1.618 level or the 786. If, however, we start to lose the 786 level, the probability is becoming higher then that we are going to see continuation to the downside directly. But really, until we actually break this low of this $8, we have that potential of forming this as a bigger ABC, where we have this as a diagonal. So we can't rule out the idea that the diagonal could be corrective as well. But the key thing within this is that either we are going to be seeing this B wave still play out here, where we're going to see this complete as a flat correction in the intermediate here before seeing a pushback up in the C wave. Or alternatively, we could argue that the C wave is already taking place, but the B wave would have been very short. So I don't really like this idea here, but it is technically possible. Now, if that is the case, 1-to-1 is here at this 70.73 to this 98.44, but it would make a lot more sense to me that if this is going to be a B wave over here, that the B wave is still incomplete and is still looking to actually play out here. So going to be watching these zones here to see how we react. If we do continue to hold those key levels, as we talked in the bullish count, we can look for that continuation. However, if we start to lose these zones, I will still be looking out for the possibility to find a bounce here between the 1605, the 1603 to this 1074 if we are looking at this as a corrective structure. Now we can see that if we had to bounce up like this, this would actually align with bringing us up here towards the zone of this 0.618 area, as well as pushing us back up into the top end of this channel. So it's going to be very interesting to see whether we do get these bullish structures continue to develop, continue to hold these lows, and continue to see price looking to spike to the upside. If this is extending as a third wave though, what we'd want to see here is we would want to see volume continuing to push to the upside here as price is moving to the upside. If we start to see volume falling off, then there's the potential that this could become 1-2, but it is also the potential that, we could just start to see this as a B wave and we start to see the volume picking up as price moves to the downside, in which case that would more likely then be a C wave. Coming in here and having a look at the daily CPR lines here, we can see that we've been continuing to print higher daily CPR lines here. Now, we have actually lost our central lines as of today. Now, if we do look to push back down, $30.30 is going to be our S1 line here. Other targets to the downside would be 28.18, 26.33, and this level here of this 24.15. Now, this would still align with the potential of actually being in a fourth wave here. So if we do see something like this, and we do see a pushback down into some of these lower levels, I'm going to be keeping an eye on this support box, like we said, of this 29.52 to this 26.19 if it is this case. Or alternatively, if we are looking at the internals here, this could align with potentially a test of this 30.20 coming back into this S1 line here, or alternatively lower down here if we come into the S2 line. Now, if we do look to actually find support here at our S1 line and we move back above our central lines, this then opens up the potential for targets to the upside of 34.31, 36.07, 38.16, and this 40.14 for today. So we're going to be watching those levels if we do reclaim those central lines. Now, moving over here onto the weekly, we can see we haven't actually had an interaction here with these central lines, which are sitting between this 28.04 and this 26.08. If we do look to continue to push down here, this could align once again with that idea of these fourth waves, where we could see the possibility of a retest of this level, aligning with both the smaller fourth wave here and the bigger fourth wave over here. We can see that the lower level would align better with this 50% retracement if we do get something like that. But the higher level would also align with coming back down into these central lines. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that if we do see price coming into this zone. Now, if we do look for that, we find support, this would then open up the possibility of a push up towards 35.49 to this 40.71, and then that would be our targets for this week. If, however, we lose these central lines, other targets to the downside here would be this 23.89, 18.65, and this 15.41 as potential downside targets if we lose these central lines. Now, moving over here and having a look at the monthly pivots. what we can see is we've actually met all these targets for this month. If we do look to retrace deeper here, going to be keeping an eye on this 27.49 as a potential support zone. Alternatively, we have this 24.61 and this 22.99 as potential support zones higher up here. If we, however, lose those zones, we could still look to find support on this 20.76 to this 19.56. Losing the central lines here, targets would be 18.56, 15.77, and this 14.10 to the downside. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video. Leave us some feedback down below, and also in the description you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out, it is free to join. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.